Welcome back, everyone. This is going to be a two-part video. The first part is going to be some breathing techniques, and I'm going to go ahead and do them with you guys. And then the second part, I'm going to have a whole bunch of advice on safety, courses, and recommendations for what you should eat before you go diving, all to help increase your bottom time. So the most important thing that you're going to want to know about holding your breath for longer is how long you exhale. Breathing out decreases your heart rate, so you want a good ratio of breathing in a little bit and then holding that exhale for a long time. Ideally, you would be doing this while you're at the surface, looking around for fish. You'd subconsciously begin to breathe in and then slowly exhale for as long as you can. There are certain times that are recommended, and I did learn this through my course with Ted Hardy at Immersion Freediving. But overall, this leads to a reduction in your heart rate, which leads to a much smoother diving experience. You're a lot more calm, and if you can maintain that calm underwater, you're going to be doing even better. Now, don't forget, this is going to be a static surface breath hold for you guys following along. But when you're underwater, you have to swim, you have to move, you have a gun in your hand. There's a lot of things that impact your adrenaline, and not only your adrenaline, but your heart rate and your oxygen consumption. The descriptions below will have all the links to any of the times for breath holds. If you don't manage to go to the next one, click the bottom link and it'll send you right back to the beginning. If you're doing your breath hold on land, it's perfectly fine to do that alone and train, through exercise or through static. But if you go into the water, let it be a pool or the ocean, please have a buddy who at least knows what to do if you were to pass out. This is my father. You can see how slow he's moving around. He's not doing anything crazy. He's just swimming around looking for fish. And every movement he does, it's very relaxed, which helps with your heart rate, also helps with your hunting skills to not scare fish. Breathing techniques are often used for meditation as well, so just consider this another form of meditation, which a lot of the really big time divers or spear fishermen will meditate as well, and it helps you keep calm underwater. This is a technique that Ted Hardy once did at the Blue Wild convention while running. You can do this while moving, it's just your breathing pattern. Before each dive, which will have a timer in the bottom left corner, I'm going to have a screen up with when to breathe in, and I'll also verbalize that. You can close your eyes or you can just watch and go along with it, and you can pause at the end of it since I only have it at 2 sets, and just repeat it till you feel like you're comfortable. And go forward with the video. Keep doing the breathe ups until you see the timer begin, and I'll also put a countdown for 3 seconds to give you a heads up. For the first video to breathe along with, there will be other comments I'll make just to reassure you guys that you're doing it right. But after the first one, it'll just be the simple breathe in and exhale until you hear the next step to do. We're about to begin, so you can go ahead and get comfortable. Breathe in. Pause, and now begin to exhale slowly till you hear the next step. If you can keep going like this, keep going. Pause and breathe in. Now pause and begin to exhale. You should hear the breath coming out of your mouth just a little bit since you're breathing out slowly. Now pause and repeat the inhale and the whole process. The video is about to begin. Keep repeating the breathe ups Don't forget, it doesn't have to be exact, but breathe in and slowly breathe out and repeat that process. Your heart rate is going to go down and then you'll be comfortable. Do one last final breathe out and slowly inhale as much air as you can, since I'm about to dive now. If you could easily do that, you can skip to one of the further ones, but you're going to repeat the breathing until your heart rate feels comfortable. Pause at any point and just continue to do what you did earlier and go on to the next video. Breathe in, pause, and begin to exhale. Pause and begin to breathe in again. Pause and slowly exhale. Pause and repeat the breathe in. The video is about to begin. Do one last final breathe out and slowly inhale as much air as you can, since I'm about to dive now. Breathe in, pause, and begin to exhale. pause and begin to breathe in again. Pause and slowly exhale. Pause and repeat the breathe in. The video is about to begin. Do one last final breathe out and slowly inhale as much air as you can, since I'm about to dive now. Well, everyone, hopefully you guys were able to go up to 2 minutes pretty easily. If you were able to do that on land, just expect probably half of that underwater, or even 45 seconds. If you're able to do 3 minutes on land, you know, all of this, it's up in the air with how much oxygen you're going to use. When you're diving, it depends on your depth, depends on how comfortable you are, how cold the water is. There's a lot of factors. So I was talking about food, right? The amount of food you have in your stomach will impact how much you can breathe in. So if you're diving in the morning, you'd hopefully want to dive with a light breakfast, most likely fruit, a banana, a granola bar, or something light. You want to avoid any caffeinated drinks. That's going to raise your heart rate and it's going to burn through your oxygen a lot quicker. You're really looking for anything to keep you relaxed in the water. You don't want to be hungry on the water, so bring a snack, because that also can impact your diving and your comfort in the water. So the food is pretty important to how your day is going to go with your dives. Always plan ahead with the temperature. Be familiar with the wetsuits that you have: open cell, closed cell, 3mm, 5mm. You want to know where you're going to dive, so you're not in freezing cold water, underprepared for that, shivering the whole time. You will barely be able to dive. You can obviously meditate. You can get better at that. Meditate on the boat on the way out, and pretty much this breathing technique that I showed you. I mean, it's as simple as breathing in just a little bit and then exhaling for much longer than what you breathe in. I could have done a certain set amount of time for that, but it's really whatever feels comfortable for you. Ted Hardy was great with this. He taught me a lot of things for breathing, and I really do recommend a course for you guys to do, not just for bottom time, not just for diving deeper, but the safety of it. I tend to dive with people I trust, and I don't like to leave my circles usually, because if something were to happen, I know I can save them, but I'm not always certain that they can save me. Ted Hardy is in Fort Lauderdale. You have Florida Freedivers. This is technically PFI is Ted Hardy's certification. He teaches through them. He just has his own, minor company within them called Immersion Freediving. But he teaches with their program. Great instructor. But when it comes to diving longer, you have 2 tables you can work on if you want as well. You could go on your phone and download an app called Stamina Apnea Trainer, and I'm not certain if you have to pay for it. Even if it's just a couple of dollars, it's worth it. They run you through your oxygen tables and your CO2 tables. That builds up your tolerance of holding your breath for longer, with good breathe ups. And then the other CO2 tables help you get used to the higher levels of CO2 in your blood, and that can also help you with being able to work more efficiently with less time to breathe out. I usually end up doing about a 2-minute breathe up between dives, but there are times where I just drop down after 30-45 seconds, whatever it is, and I just go because either there's a fish or I have to help my friend or whatever it is. But you don't want to do that too often, and you don't want to do it too close, because then you can have a shallow water blackout. You want roughly, rough estimate, if you don't have a dive watch, for each time you're down there, you want twice the amount of time on the surface. Safe estimate, 2 minutes, you're fine. But this depends on your body, and even with doing that, you can still black out if something goes wrong. And usually blackouts, you don't know they're happening. The person who blacks out, if you've seen any videos of it, they usually don't even realize that they blacked out, or they kind of are a bit of out of it. They're not fully aware about what's going on in front of them, which is why the buddy system is so important. Which is why I stress, don't do this in the water, in your pool, in your bathtub, if you're going to do it there too. Don't do it unless you have a dive buddy with you, someone who can lift your head above the water, blow on your eyes, and try and help you regain consciousness. You can take a tennis ball, and you can go to a baseball field, or you can go to a park, and you can set up a chair, sit in your chair, do your breathe ups, grab that tennis ball, and walk as far as you can without breathing, and drop that ball. Go back, grab another ball, and repeat that process. And you're going to build that tolerance as well, because static breath holds are great for minor training, but when you're in the moment of doing the exercise, you do burn a decent amount of oxygen. Right off the bat, let's say I'm diving with a buddy on a wreck. It's likely that I might not be able to dive 80 feet at the beginning of the day, especially if I haven't dove for a month. But if I have 2 days of consecutive diving, I could do whatever it takes, because I'm going to be getting my mammalian dive reflex working, and I'm going to have all these different systems getting used to what I'm doing. Long breaks are going to take you a bit more to get into it. Some people have convulsions underwater when they hold their breath for too long, which is kind of, I'm not exactly certain how to explain it, but you can kind of feel like a pressure pushing back. Your body can actually stay down a lot longer than you feel, and a lot longer than you realize you can. Your body's playing it pretty conservatively, because it wants to make sure you're coming back alive and conscious. So at times, yeah, you can fight it. Like some dive instructors say, you can hold your breath for longer. When I was doing that 4-minute 30-second breath hold in Ted Hardy's pool, I had just done a 3-minute one prior to that. I thought I was only going to go 4 seconds, but that encouragement that I could hear him say as an instructor, no, you can do this. I could hear him from underwater, and I just held on, and I felt perfectly fine afterwards. Actually, you kind of get more comfortable the more used you are to the convulsions, and you can stay down longer. Now, you're doing these long dives, you're taking a greater risk. You want that dive buddy, and I can't stress that enough. You don't want to do any of these things alone. You especially don't want to do them, but you can build up your levels. The video was only 20 feet, and I could do 2 minutes and a half down there. I haven't been able to pass a 3-minute mark on a dive. When I did my 100-foot dive, when I was going through the course with Ted Hardy again, I messed up because I didn't go through the sink phase. I can get into that later on, but at 66 feet, you become negatively buoyant and you sink. I kind of kicked through the whole entire sink phase because I was excited to go from 90 feet to that 100-foot marker, and there's just a goal of mine. So 100 feet kicking down, 100 feet kicking up, I was beyond exhausted by the end of that one. And Ted Hardy was like, "What the hell did you do? Why didn't you sink?" And I said, "Man, I completely forgot." But that whole entire dive was only 1:35. So you can see that the efficiency of your kicks, your fins, everything combined can affect your time greatly. And so not one thing works for everyone. If what you just saw now doesn't work for you, there's a lot of people who do these type of videos who help you breathe, who just can answer any questions. But feel free to go in the comments and tell me what you do to breathe up. I can't stress this enough. Do not hyperventilate. You're often tricking your brain into thinking it has more oxygen than it really does, and then what you're going to end up with is a shallow water blackout. And there are certain techniques called, hooks and purges and cleanses and all these other things that you do before and after your dive. A dive instructor can get more in depth with that. That's not my place to get in depth about. But you can do all this research, go to conventions like the Blue Wild when it happens, COVID, aside from COVID. You can go to these conventions and you can talk to these guys. Ted Hardy's there, Kirk Connell is there, Ryan Myers sometimes shows up. You guys have, major world champions or even just big names in general who are encouraging safe diving practices, and I'm sure they'll gladly help you out. I'd say, a couple of the Blue Wild events I've been to, there's always been a moment of silence for someone that the community's held dearly that's passed away. Sometimes there are competitive freedivers who dive to, crazy depths. Sometimes it's just a spear fisherman who got lost at sea or drowned or whatever it is. You guys have people in Hawaii who have had a lot of this happen. I think just this year I saw 3 or 4 people had gone missing and then reported dead, and it's something you want to avoid. So yeah, longer bottom time is cool and all, you can be more comfortable and hide from the fish. At the same time, you're taking more risks. You want that good surface time, you want good intervals. You don't want to be exhausted, because by the time you notice something's wrong, it might be too late. So once again, ask any questions, leave comments, respond to each other, share your own tips, share your own experiences. I actually personally don't meditate much, but I know that's a big thing that a lot of people enjoy and that benefits them. So hopefully there was something you guys found helpful from this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you for watching.